All right, so it is December. We're here talking baseball. This is tentatively titled The Baseball Show. I'm Andy Singleton. You're watching Nickel Press TV. I got my buddies Lifshitz and Tehol Beddict with me. We're trying to talk some baseball in December while nobody else is talking about it. So hopefully you'll enjoy that aspect of it. We're going to give you a couple hot button topics that are going on right now with the winter meetings, hot stove stuff, prospects that we like, all kinds of stuff throughout the offseason, leading right up into spring training. And we're going to try to do these in short little bursts, so, in the 5-minute range at a time, just to give you something to wet your whistle with and not oversaturate you with too much information all at once. You can go back and watch these as you choose. We're going to get right into things with the very first installment of this with the defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs. And Ralph, do you want to tell everybody what the moves they made were? And then Tehol and I will comment on that as well as yourself.
Sure. So, obviously sort of comings and goings. First member of the team to leave, Dexter Fowler, obviously signed with the rival St. Louis Cardinals for quite a bit of change. I think it was 5 years, $82 million. He'll be missed, but I think we all sort of figured, on the 1-year deal he was on, that he probably wasn't going to stick around long term. So I'm not surprised that he ended up walking. They certainly have enough depth in that organization, at the major league level and the minor league level to certainly replace him. Hopefully, I'm sure they're betting on Hayward actually earning his damn contract. And other moves they've made, Jorge Soler, obviously major prospect, Cuban prospect, was traded over to the Royals. Wade Davis, super closer Wade Davis, coming back in that deal. And then the other deal they made, kind of a smaller move, Koji Urihara, former Red Sox closer, signed actually today for 1-year deal. So that bullpen's pretty bolstered at this point. It's pretty strong. They obviously lost Aroldis Chapman. They've replaced him with Davis. They've added some depth. They already had some guys there. They still have Rodon. They still have Strop. They still have Edwards. Still have Montgomery. So good stuff.
That's the big one. They still have Edwards. But Tehol, so far, right off the bat, do these moves excite you? Do they make this team better, worse? Do you think this puts them in position to repeat as World Series champions?
Oh, yeah, I love the moves. You got to let the closer walk when he's about to get 86 minutes. I mean, when you're going to give the closer that much money, there's really no point keeping him, especially a guy that's like him who's probably overworked and just almost cost them the World Series by the manager putting him out there when he clearly didn't have the stuff, and he almost went out really sadly. That would have been real sad. Speaking of hot stove, I just burnt my hand taking knife hits off the stove. It was insane. And other than that, I mean, Koji O'Hara, are we sure about the pronunciation on that? Ralph lives in Boston allegedly, so I'm sure he's got that one correct. But yeah, I mean, is he 40, 41, 42 years old allegedly?
He should be on the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just confused. I want to know. I mean, Ralph, I usually go to him for like baseball questions as I've slipped a little bit of my obsession for the game. So when I'm asking about pitchers, do we need just Wade? One, I want to know, is Wade Davis fine from the injury or going to be fine? And two, is Koji Uhara going to be effective anymore? As it seems like, even though his numbers were good last year, he was like injured for part of the year. Something was going on, or was that the year before? I've lost track.
Yeah, I think the big thing we're missing here with these moves is you let Dexter Fowler go, and then you trade Soler. Sure, you have Alberto Almora still around. You have Eloy Jimenez coming up. But this kind of signals that they're really hoping and banking on Jason Hayward returning to his earlier career form and validating all that money they spent on him last year. You don't have any fallback option at Dexter Fowler now. And other than that, you've kind of weakened the outfield in that regard. As far as Wade Davis goes, could be on the same level as Chapman as far as the closer. Could we all agree with that? And now he gets to ride out the whole season. Yeah, right. It's not as exciting, maybe not as electric. Throwing double digits as opposed to triple digits, but just as effective as you mentioned. Ihara, however you want to say it. He's got closing experience, so if something should falter, and you're also grooming C.J. Edwards, who, he actually surprised me. I thought he was a little bit overrated as a prospect when they got him.
Is that the dude who came in and almost blew it at the end?
Yeah.
String Bean is actually literally his nickname.
Any African American pitchers that are in the big leagues, I give it up to them. Why aren't there any? Who knows? Because they stopped playing the game allegedly in those areas where a lot of the black athletes are just playing football, basketball. It's like there's such a decline in baseball. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. It'd be so great for the sport if we could get some more of my young bros back in the game, because they're the realest there is when they're in that. There just aren't. There's almost none. Look at it. There's like barely any black Major League Baseball players, American born. It's insane.
Well, I think it's coming back around. It comes in waves, but more interestingly than anything else, fantasy-wise with this is the Soler move to Kansas City, where he pretty much is unbridled now and has an opportunity to flourish. So I'm more curious what Ralph's thought is based on what he's seen as, Ralph is heavy into the prospects, as am I. So I'm more curious what your thoughts are now with him potentially being an everyday player. Is he somebody you're excited about? And is this a guy you're really investing a lot of stock in as a featured outfielder on your fantasy teams this year?
I still have some questions with Soler, and I think a lot of it comes down to just his swing. He's got that long, sort of prototypical Cuban swing where when he makes contact, it can be a thing of beauty. But there's a lot of times where he just totally misses balls, and it seems like he's never seen a breaking pitch. And he's just got some of those rough things. Now, the Royals have done a great job of sort of writing some players, getting some things sort of ironed out. They're a great organization in terms of coaching players up, in terms of making solid contact. So maybe there's some tweaks they can make there. But I think the biggest thing for Soler is there's nothing sort of in his way at this point. I think you mentioned he's unbridled or whatever it is. But he's going to have the opportunity to get 400 plus at bats. And I think the numbers will come. With the opportunity, with the playing time, his value as a fantasy player goes up astronomically. He doesn't have those playing time questions that he had in that Cubs outfield, and he can slide in at DH. So the defensive concerns aren't as big of a deal either, especially with Morales walking. There's an opportunity for him and Mike Moustakas to fill that DH spot.
Well, you mentioned the Cuban background. Let's not forget Soler and Yasiel Puig were pretty much neck and neck as far as projected outlook, going back as recently as 4 years ago. And we know what Puig has done to go on to the majors, and Soler is now just starting to scratch the surface. But I'm going to ask you both, and I'm going to start with you, Tehol. 30 home runs, possible? What if that's the line of demarcation? Does he get past that, or is he still?
I mean, if I was a betting man, which I used to be long time ago, I would say absolutely not. I would not bet. I would have to bet on the under on that all day long. I mean, could he do it? Possibly. I mean, it's been quite disappointing for me overall, I guess. And I know his playing time has been a little split up here and there, but he obviously has not done anything. I mean, it seemed like he was better. Was that his rookie year? He showed out a little bit. I mean, it seems like he has regressed since then. So, I mean, I'm fairly concerned. It's a nice get for flipping an older reliever for a possible corner outfielder on the last whatever. I mean, I don't mind the pickup. Do I think I would lean towards it not happening. Could it happen? Sure. I always liked him as a player, but I'm leaning against no under 30 homers for sure.
I think he could have hit 30 home runs in the time it took you to get that out. But Ralph, what is your feeling? He's a big power guy. You think he got it in him?
Yeah, and I think if you could promise that he sees over 500 at bats, then I think there's a great opportunity. I would say there's probably a better than 60% chance that he does hit 30. He's going to have that opportunity. He will have some protection, not a ton with Hosmer and some other guys in the lineup. Kane, if they keep him around, I do think he'll hit in the middle. He'll have some opportunity to drive in some runs. But if he sees 500, 550 at bats, meaning 260 so at bats last season, he had 12 homers. So if he gets 500 to 600 at bats, there's a solid chance he could hit 30, especially if he makes some approach changes. He did show some development last year as well. The walk rate was up. He was walking at an 11% clip, only striking out about 25% of the time, which in today's day and age isn't absurd. So I think it's there. I think with maybe a little bit of luck, a little Babe-App luck, we'll see what happens. But I think it's possible he can hit 30, but it's probably what his ceiling is for next season.
Yeah, I'm going to go out very, very, very early prediction. Say the Royals really went all in on this guy, giving up a guy like Wade Davis, probably what they could have gotten for him. So I think they got the guy they wanted. I see a full season of at-bats for him. I see in the range of a 265 average, 25 homers, and 85 RBI as kind of what I'd be very happy with from him this season. Again, this is December. It's very early, but you're getting that kind of production. That's a solid outfielder 3 in fantasy. So that's somebody I'm looking at you could target late in drafts. Anybody have anything? Anybody offended by that before we wrap up this segment on the Cubs and Royals?
Spot on, man.
I'll bet you guys whatever you want. Right now, he doesn't hit over 30. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, we still have to settle our Trevor Story and I can't even get his name out right now. Miguel Sano wager. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. Probably went a little over time. If you got any more specific questions about the Cubs lineup, roster, pitching staff, prospects, hit us up. You can find our Twitter handles here. Check back with the next episode.
I got more questions.